delighted to say that helping us look ahead to that game might give us a bit of an idea whether they've got any chance of coming in or not, is Dan Baylis, a big Wolves fan, returning to the We Are West Ham podcast. Out and about at the moment in Wolverhampton, our first external guest I think we've had for
I'm
a
not.
while.
I am.
You're not even in Wolverhampton?
I'm in the city of.
I'm
based down here. I'm in London.
Sorry, Dan. My bad. The one
I
true city.
I wish Wolverhampton looked a bit more like.
I was going to say it looked a bit. I don't know what part of Wolverhampton that is because I've never seen it look that upmarket. Dan, it's brilliant to have you back with us again. Thanks for finding time in your morning out and about in the streets of London to chat to us on the podcast. It's all go at Wolves at the moment. Pretty feel good stuff. Weirdly, even though West Ham are above you in the table, it's more but 2 points, but we've played 2 games more than you guys, in some decent form at the moment. A little bit of a wobble in the middle of February with those 2 1-0 defeats to Norwich in the cup and then Arsenal in the league. But since middle of December, it's all looking pretty rosy, and if you win those 2 games in hand, there's even sort of a chance you'll be sniffing around that top 4. You'll be level on points with Man United, only behind them on goal difference.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's these next 2 games are really big. Obviously, we go to Arsenal Thursday night, and then we're coming to your place. So, it tells you if Wolves have got any real bite, to be honest. We've played pretty well. I think the Norwich game you can write off. It was a cup game. We weren't really. It didn't look like we were in it too much. The Arsenal one was disappointing. I thought we didn't play that well, but we also had a few chances and could have maybe snuck a result out of that. Other than that, played quite poorly against Leicester, but got the result, which I think is the sign of a good team. You're not going to be fantastic every game, and sometimes you are and you don't get points. So to pick up a win against a fairly decent Leicester team that have been in poor form or relatively poor form for them, really happy with it. It'd just be nice, we've got 2 big games now, and it's going to decide whether we can look at 4th or whether it's going to be Europa League or Europa Conference. I can't see us finishing below 8th now. I think that with the run we've got, should be getting into Europe. It's just where we end up. You guys are playing really nice football as well, so it should be 2 decent teams having a proper game.
Yeah, you say that though, mate. The wheels are really starting to fall off at the moment. The results over the last few games don't look terrible. I mean, a draw against Newcastle isn't great. An away draw against Leicester sounds okay as well, but we've struggled in all of our last 4 games. Kidderminster Harriers in the cup, woeful, needed extra time and 2 last gasp goals to get that one over the line.
The Harriers are a good team though, mate. Can't knock the Harriers.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just one of those where if you just look at the results, you think, that's not too bad. But drawing at Newcastle, we're just stuttering. Everything's stuttering. And there is a real fear that coming up against a team as talented as Wolves, playing as well as you, I think this could be a first well-deserved defeat being inflicted. So I wouldn't get too concerned at the moment about the fact that West Ham look and sound good.
I'd love that to be the case, but you are a decent team and you're playing decent football. And I think the last few games we've had against each other have been good football matches. They've probably gone in weird directions. You had a good 4-0 against us. We beat you 3-0 convincingly in the last couple of seasons. So, and then a couple of 1-0s either way. So it'd be interesting to see if Wolves play well Thursday against Arsenal. I want to see how we react then at West Ham. On our podcast, it was being chatted through this week, and people think that the West Ham game is a more likely one to go and take points from. I don't see it that way. I know Arsenal have also been on really good form, but I always think they're susceptible, and they've been a bit of a bogey team. We've been a bit of a bogey team for them. Whereas I see West Ham as a genuinely decent side, and if we went there and did take a point or 3 points against you guys on Sunday, I'd be absolutely ecstatic, and it'd make me be looking right up the table because we know we can beat those teams in around us.
Yeah, fair enough. Looking ahead to the game then, how do you see it playing out? Because as I've said, from a West Ham point of view, it's just a bit stuttery at the moment. We're not quite clicking and fizzing in attack. The defence is okay. We just seem to be stumbling through games, and they've become more and more attritional as our players look more and more tired week in, week out.
It'll be tight. That's what it'll be.
How do you see
I don't think we've lost by more than 2 this year. So we aren't conceding many goals, as everyone's well aware of. So for West Ham to nick it, you've got to stay really tight at the back. We don't create that many chances, and we don't create that many goal scoring opportunities, even though we've started to come good there actually and scores more goals. So I think it's going to be attritional. I think it's going to be a 1-0 either way, maybe a 2-1 either way. I can't see it being an open. It might be open football, but it's not going to be an open contest with plenty of goals in it. So if West Ham can stay tight at the back, then you've got every chance of drawing a result from us and nicking the goal. I think you've got to frustrate us. You've got to stop us getting down the wings or around the back too much. Jimenez has looked a little bit off form, but he had a nice little assist for Neves' first goal the other day. So we just need signs of him coming back to what he was once like. Yeah, I'm sure West Ham fans know what he was like at his top peak before the injury. So it's one of them. You've got to sit tight. You've got to frustrate us. You can't let us get our nose in front. Because I don't think we've lost this year if we've got ahead.
Right.
So just frustrate us. Don't give us too many chances. Stay tight at the back, and I'm sure we'll get one chance at some point.
Yeah, I mean, Mikel Antonio in by far the most tragic form of any centre forward in the league. So, and he didn't have a horrible skull injury to blame on that, unfortunately. Or fortunately, of course. I mean, as far as team news goes, is there sort of any big stars missing at the moment coming back into the team?
Well, that's the one big one we've had is that Pedro Neto has come back. He had sort of 15, 20 minutes the other day against Leicester, and he can get back to anywhere near what he was like before the injury. He's a serious player. I genuinely think he's better than Jota. Jota's obviously gone on to Liverpool and done great things, but Neto I think he's 21 now. As a 21-year-old, the skill and the pace he's got and the way he can take teams apart is unreal. He's come back from a very long injury. He broke his kneecap. So I think we haven't seen him for gone over 10 months. But he showed signs. He showed signs against Leicester. He got on the pitch. He wanted the ball. He wanted to go at people. So I'd love him to maybe even get 30, 35 minutes against you guys or Arsenal. Really run at them, cause problems. Obviously, we've lost Traore, so Neto coming back to fitness is really.
I was going to ask about Traore. Is that a big loss? He seemed to have his impact seemed to have waned somewhat, and it didn't sound like too many Wolves fans were gutted to see him go.
He splits fans' opinions now. I see him a bit as like a Deontay Wilder style of football. Right. He only needs a good 5 seconds and he can change the game, but he can do very little otherwise. Yeah. Fans get frustrated with him, and he is one of those types of players. He can do one great thing in a match that changes it and gets you something, but his assist and goal stats for Wolves aren't that great. That said, for a lot of that time, he didn't have Raul there in the middle to pick out.
Yeah.
I liked him. I always thought he was a great impact player, but at the same time, you could sit there for an afternoon and be effing and blinding at him because he hasn't really done too much in a game where you want him to.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know. It's not a massive loss yet because we're playing so well.
If
we're on a run of form where we only pick up 2 or 3 points from the next 5, then we'd start to question it. But at the moment, it doesn't matter. We're playing nicely. We've got good young attacking players that want to be on the ball and want to get around the back and want to create chances. Podence is a great talent. I don't think people in the Premier League have really spoken about him.
No, he seems to
last few weeks.
Have started growing into himself a bit recently. Is that right, or is it just that people are noticing him?
He could do with growing because he's only about 5'2". But no, he's great talent. Got really good feet. He's really tricky. Caused a lot of problems to Leicester. I don't know whether he won one man of the match or not, but I think he might have. Good players. Wolves have got good attacking options at the moment. It's just that Raul isn't quite firing, and that's probably what's lacking. 5 or 6 goals that we need to really challenge up there for that top 4 or 6. So we've just got to watch the team come back together. There's been a lot of long injuries. There's been a bit of change and a bit of rotation, and now it's starting to come good. Martinho, I mean, he's about 35. I don't know how he still does it because the way he gets about in the middle is superb. Neves is obviously a great player. So there's plenty of good things there for Wolves. We've just got to start pulling it together and being more consistent with that quality that we've got. Reminds me a bit of you guys, to be honest. You've got the likes of Bowen and Rice and play the ball nicely through the middle. Wolves do that, but we just don't do it consistently enough.
Yeah. Fair enough, Dan. Fair enough. As far as I'll ask one more question before I get your prediction off of you. One question I've been asking, anyone who'll listen really. If it's not your team, like I've been asking West Ham fans, if it's not West Ham, who do you think is going to get that final fourth spot. Same question to you. If it's not Wolves, who do you think will nick that fourth place spot?
Because of my hatred of Man United, I would much rather you guys or maybe Arsenal do it, but I hope you do it. I'd rather a team, I see Wolves and West Ham as reasonably similar teams with proper passionate fan bases.
Yeah.
And you want those sort of teams in Europe. You don't want your Man United tourist tickets going all over the place. So,
yeah, of course.
Us or you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's. I'd like the sound of that, but I just reckon Arsenal are going to nick in. Well, look, Dan, it's been brilliant. We appreciate you having your time, nipping into a little side street in London to talk to us this morning.
No worries.
Final question then. Sunday, London Stadium, West Ham v Wolves. Score prediction.
My head would say a score draw or 1-1, but just to stay positive and keep the Wolves run going, I'm going to say 2-1 Wolves. Pedence to grab a brace.
2-1 Wolves, Pedence brace. Very, very achievable. By the sounds of it, if you ask me, I think it's one of those things where if we get a point where home form's not been very good, if you're nice and compact, like you said, fans tend to get a bit frustrated, and then cracks start to show, and it's just not good. I'd be absolutely delighted and in equal measure stunned if we got a win. But look, Dan, appreciate you giving us your time this morning. Thanks for peeling away to chat to us, and enjoy the game. Are you going?
I can't make it, unfortunately. I've got to go up for some wedding thing up north somewhere. So
God.
It's one of them. Can't make it, unfortunately.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Well, look, if you do manage to catch it, enjoy the game. Not too much, we hope, of course, but it's been brilliant. And where can people catch your podcast? What's it called? Tell them about it.
So we're the Wolves 77 Club. We're on Spotify, iTunes, all the places you'll find it. We're also live on YouTube. Post that on the social channels when we're going live, usually Tuesday or Wednesday night. You'll find us in all the usual places. Just search the Wolves 77 Club.
Excellent stuff. Dan, Wolves 77 podcast, looking ahead to that game Sunday afternoon, West Ham v Wolves at the London Stadium.